Okay, we're going to do a little tear down or take apart here on the Ansoy Glock 18. I'll actually get down to the gearbox. I'll even open up the gearbox for you guys. I don't advise that you guys be taking these apart unless something is broken that you're trying to fix. I mean, if it's broken, at that point, you might as well. There's no downside to taking it apart. However, if it's not broken, there's really no upside to taking it apart. You're more likely to cause problems, especially the gearbox is what I'm talking about. Really only open that if it's broken. Okay, so the gearbox in here is the same one in the Desert Eagle. It's also in, I'm sure, countless other gel ball blasters. There's really only a handful or so of gel ball blaster gearboxes used in all the different top loaders out there. The AKM-47 uses a different style one, however, they recently switched. So, but anyway, we'll go ahead and we'll take this apart. So what I've done is I've removed most of the screws here just for time's sake. So to pop, so there's a screw here, do those two, and then you can open it kind of like this and pop it out. Okay, there's one more screw here, but that doesn't have to be removed and you can't access it. Anyway, so you can see here, that's kind of interesting. So the blowback pin, so this one was broken. The blowback pin was significantly bent. So not sure how exactly that happened, except for when it was sliding, if somebody put pressure on it on the wrong place. Spring, so just kind of save those to the side if you were going to put it back together. So I have all of the screws out except this one up here. So grab that one out, and then this one should be out. Yep, okay. So we're going to pop the top off and open it up. So here's the setup on this one. This is the little orange release button for the slide that slides over the top where the bracket for the hopper attaches. You can see that the spring here has a little spot that it goes in, and then the hole on the orange button lines up with that tab right there, or that little post. Okay, so we'll get that out of there. There we go. Look at the trigger system here. This trigger is a little different than some of the others. The larger piece is on top, and of course when you push like that, that's what activates the switch. That's what makes it shoot. So we can take that out. That spring will fall off, so keep it with it. This is the release button for the battery. And then here we have where your battery plugs in, and then we have your switch. So your switch should just easily come out like that, right? This is a little different. You can see this is, okay. Sometimes that doesn't pop out as easy. Sometimes you'll need to take like a needle nose and kind of grab it gently on the side and pull it out. You want to be careful because it is easy to break some of these tabs. And I've definitely done that before. But anyway, so this is that button that goes, when you go to put it back together, if you ever do, you're going to have to put this part in first, kind of line it up. Okay, and then this kind of goes in. You line this up and then push it down, right? So you can't, my point is that you can't put this all the way in unless you're putting this in at the same time, the battery plug at the same time, okay? So we'll take this off. This switch sometimes will just lift off like that. Well, there you go. Came off really easy. Sometimes it's a little more stuck, and again, you want to use like a needle nose and just kind of be gentle with it. So you can see here, your negative is black always. In this case, you've got a yellow positive. And I'm not 100% sure why it went with that. It's black and red and all the other ones. So when we're talking about the gearbox, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 screws. So we can just start pulling those out. Again, I highly recommend taking pictures of stuff. So even once you open this up, before you remove any of these pieces at all, before we even get to the gearbox, take a picture so you know where everything goes. I used to do that all the time, Now I just know from doing enough of it, but that's definitely a good way to make sure you remember where things go. And anytime I like open up a new one, I make sure that I have a picture of how things are so that I can set it back up. Now, a lot of times I'll be able to figure it out now just from experience and knowing what should go where, but that wasn't always the case. Okay, so we've got all the screws out now. This maybe will take a little bit more to pop open. And I'm trying to do it really carefully for you guys so that we don't move anything, so you can see how it's supposed to look right away. That's the other hard thing with these gearboxes, is if you open them up, you want to open them, you got to be really careful opening them as well before you're even touching anything, because you don't want the gears to be all shifting around and not knowing where they go. So we'll see if I was able to do it or not. All right. That's pretty lucky. That's pretty clean. Oh, that's one of these little screws. So you can see here we got the motor, right? You got these 3 pins. Put that there. So I'm going to just move this piece off just because it comes off and will get in the way. You know, obviously that's the barrel. And then you can see how the gears are set up in here. Okay, but this is also why it's hard to put back together, because the pins came off with that one. They don't always do that, right? You'd almost want the pins to be over here, because now when you go to line this up, you've got a pin that goes in, you know, this gear, a pin that goes in this gear, and it's just going to be very difficult to get everything back in there where it's supposed to go. But you can. It's just going to take patience and sometimes a little bit of luck, because all these different pieces have to line back up properly. So these pins do come out, and a lot of times they stay in on the same side. That's not so bad. This was almost kind of a worst case scenario, because all these pins came out on the wrong side. And then you've got like a piece down here that fell that needs a pin through it. So this is why I don't advise opening it up, because it's hard, if something like that happens, to be able to get it back together properly if you didn't know where it was supposed to go in the first place. Okay, here's your spring, your plunger. Now this is what's going to actually shoot back and then drive that forward. All right, so there's a picture of it, kind of an up close, but still, I would only do that if it's broken. Otherwise, leave it alone. You're just more likely to cause problems with it. Okay, and you can't really like replace the motor on this with a bigger motor. If you do, you'll probably shred the gears. There's really nothing you can do to upgrade any of these top loading blasters. They're just not made to be upgraded. You're not going to find metal gears that fit. There's no kits for metal gears for something like this. There's no kits to replace this. You could find a motor that will fit in there, but that doesn't mean it's going to do anything more for you. It'll probably just, again, cause more problems. So, moral here is only open it up if you have to. Take lots of pictures. Be really careful. And hopefully you can find what was wrong with it and you can put it back together right. All right, hopefully that helps you out.